Yo, what's going on, guys? KrispyFlakes here. For today's video, we have an article titled 10 NBA legends who would struggle today and 10 current stars who would struggle in past eras. So I am prepared to fully just disagree with a lot of these out here, man, because I already see Kevin Durant on that list. I'm like, what? But this is an article by Darnell Jones, so we're gonna go through this, talk about it, man. Give me your opinions, as always, in the comment section below, if you think these certain stars would struggle or succeed in past eras, or if these legends would succeed in today's NBA. And if you guys don't mind, man, do me a quick favor and dropping a like on this video. If you can help me get this video to 1,000 likes, I'll just be the happiest guy ever. Thank you guys all so much for that. Here we go, man. First player we have is legend Wilt Chamberlain, struggling in the current NBA. So for one, we gotta say this: Wilt Chamberlain is not ever going to struggle with basketball. We gotta say that plain and simple, man. Now, is he gonna be grabbing 50 rebounds and 80-point games or 100-point games or doing stuff like that? Definitely not, especially in this era of basketball. Yes, he was a freak athlete, so it's like I don't really think that would be an issue. Not really much for perimeter shooters, so it's like he's not really gonna space the floor. Although I bet you Wilt Chamberlain, if there was any center to just be skilled enough where he could add the three-point shot, it would probably be him, right? But no, he's definitely not dropping those crazy stat games that he did in the past, because for one, just centers are a lot more athletic and larger now and stuff like that. But he would still be a really good center. I mean, I would take him on my Detroit Pistons over Andre Drummond right now, man, even at the age of however old he is. I would take him right now, man. All right, next up we have present star Steph Curry. So I know the big one with here, guys, is that in the past era, the three-point shot was not as heavily utilized. And not to mention that, but Stephen Curry is kind of notorious for kind of rubbing players the wrong way at times. He'll make a shot and start dancing and stuff like that. In the 80s was not happening, man. If you were dancing out there, if you were making some of those crazy shots, or doing some things that you might consider disrespectful now, you getting punched in the face, man. You getting slammed to the ground hard times. So yes, Curry would still be an amazing shooter. I still think even back in the 80s, his three-point shot would probably revolutionize the game still, because we've never really seen a shooter quite like Stephen Curry. We've seen a lot of good players out there. Who knows how good like a Steve Kerr or a Ray Allen would be if they were taking as many threes as players do now. But at the same time, Curry, I just think he would kind of get tossed around a lot, and I would think he would probably end up getting injured at some point. But as far as getting to the basket and stuff, he wouldn't be doing that as much. But the three-point shot, it's that's so hard to defend, where he would still have great success with that. It just might not be utilized as much as it is now. All right, next up we have Bill Russell, and this one I already disagree with 100%, man. So it was basically saying on here that him at 6'9" would be considered a small forward in today's game. That's just completely asinine to even say, man. You might argue and say that Bill Russell, with his athleticism and stuff, would be the perfect small ball lineup kind of guy out. Like Bill Russell at center in a lot of these offenses would be absolutely perfect. I mean, no, he wouldn't be scoring, because that's just not what he did back then. Although he would still put up some nice scoring games every now and then, but the rebounding, the defense, just his ability to play defense on anybody, he would be absolutely perfect in today's NBA. So this one I totally disagree with. Just because you're 6'9" doesn't mean you gotta be a small forward or a power forward. Look at Ben Wallace, how much success he had as a center in the NBA being 6'9". There's guys right now, Draymond Green, 6'7", considered undersized, but still excels in the small ball lineup. So Bill Russell would definitely dominate today's game. All right, next up we have present star James Harden. So James Harden is a man of many moves. This dude got a step back that looks like a travel, but somehow doesn't get called, right? But it works for him out there. But really the big reason James Harden has such great numbers at times is because with some of his trickery out there, it does result in him getting fouled quite a bit and getting to the free throw line, which of course, stat pads, the points per game and stuff like that, calls that were not necessarily being called back in the 80s and 90s, James Harden would not get back then. So for that reason, I still think, I look at James Harden and just his body and stuff like that, very physical guard, I'd say, so he would still be a good NBA player. I don't think he'd be an MVP back in the 80s, but I could still see him being a 20-point per game scorer, getting the assists and stuff out there too. So, like I said, man, using the word struggle in this video is kind of not really the best choice of words. I just don't think he would be as good as now. All right, next up we have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Bro, give me that skyhook, man, on any era. I don't care. You dropping 100 points per game, right? But no, so I don't really know the big reason behind this. It says, today Kareem would be great offensively, but the spacing and small ball that has taken over the NBA has made it harder for big men. Defensively, guards are able to put pressure on coaches to make tough decisions about lineups. Yeah, and I hate making this comparison, guys, because it just, it doesn't, the player I'm comparing right here, it just doesn't make much sense because of who he is. But Jahlil Okafor is a player that was drafted. Wasn't he number 1 overall pick? I believe. Or was he like top 3? I don't quite remember. But Jahlil Okafor is a player that would have been like a 20 and 10 guy back in this era of basketball where Kareem played. But now it's like the back to the basket type of player that Jahlil is. Doesn't really work in basketball anymore. So yes, Kareem in that mindset would be that'd be the issue, where it's like the post-up game wouldn't be there, but still Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he would figure things out to some extent. He would adjust his game, just like I said with Will Chamberlain, where he would be a great basketball player. All right, next we have Kyrie Irving. So Kyrie Irving is an isolation type of guard out there. Always has a decent three-point shot. I mean, sometimes he struggles with it with consistency. The big thing with Kyrie Irving is his ability to get to the basket and finish some crazy layups, just type of layups. It's like, how did that go in? And once again, man, you getting pushed around in the 80s trying to do that. You know, you go to the basket a few times, you float up some weak layup or something like that, or some flippity dippity thing, and it's getting sent back, probably with a few teeth also from your mouth. So, yeah, I can see Kyrie Irving would still be a starter in any era, but I could see him not maybe get up some of them, because some of those layups he does now and maybe having to rely a bit more on the jump shot. Next up, we have Charles Barkley. So this on here says that he's listed at 6'4". Is Charles Barkley 6'4"? I thought he was 6'6". Maybe that's with shoes on. But the round mound and rebound, career averages of 22 points, 12 rebounds per game. Once again, guys, like, yeah, defensively, not the greatest, but offensively, perfect for any small ball lineup. I'm still good with that. I think he fits now more in this era than maybe he does in past eras anyway. So another one I disagree with. Trae Young, why is he listed on this video as a star, man? Trae Young's been having a really good rookie season, doing some crazy things, but as of right now, until he gets to that level, it's like I call him the poor man Stephen Curry. It's not disrespectful, it's just that he has to get to that point to be in, at Stephen Curry's level. But another guy that likes to launch three-pointers, do some crazy layups and passes, some flashy stuff that you might not get away with in the past. What? Y'all gonna say Magic Johnson is gonna struggle in this era? An era where Ben Simmons is literally a 6'9" Magic Johnson without the jump shot. Like, I'm not saying Magic Johnson was a great three-point shooter, but he would have figured it out, man. Wow. Magic Johnson would be perfect in this era. At the point guard position, there would be no stopping him, man. There'd be absolutely no stopping him at all. This one is just asinine to even put him on the list. No way. We got present star Kevin Durant. So, from reading this article, the big one about him is saying it's because he's skinny and thinner out there that he would get bumped around a lot. But I mean, his offensive game is so great that he would beat you in many different ways. And it's really hard to use the argument that, oh, you wouldn't be good because you get punched in the face in the 80s. Which, like, yeah, the game was more physical, but players still figured it out. You got, like, Dominique Wilkins and different, George Griffin was not really the biggest guy, was he? He was like 6'7", kind of skinnier and stuff like that. He figured it out. Kevin Durant would be just fine. He'd be just fine, man. Karl Malone. This one I do kind of agree with because of his style of game. He was definitely a big time. He was definitely a more traditional power forward. He posts you up. They call him the mailman because he always be delivering. And he shoots a lot of mid-range shots. The mid-range shot is definitely a lost art in the NBA. So, yeah, he definitely would. And his defense was really never all that great where you could really put him at the small ball center spot and be great there. I mean, I guess you could because there's a lot of other centers out there that are worse defensively probably than Karl Malone was. But still, I don't think he'd be as big time a scorer. He would still be a solid NBA player, probably like a 20 and 10 guy. I'll probably say that for him. We got present star Draymond Green. You know what, man? I would love to see Draymond Green go up against some traditional power forwards. I would love to see him go back in time and play some of those eras with that mouth. Because do you guys feel like Draymond Green is an actual, like, tough guy? Or do you think he's just all talk, and as soon as somebody punches him in the face, man, he's going to, start crying about it or something? Because I'd love to see that. I would pay good money to buy a time machine and send Draymond Green back to the Bad Boys Pistons, man. I want to see it, baby. John Havlicek. So from reading this, So Havlicek is one of those guys that probably doesn't get talked about too much, but he was somebody that did a little bit of everything out there, was a great perimeter shooter, and they're saying that in this case, he might not be physical enough to be as dominant right now in the current NBA. While the three-point shots there, he'd probably be even better of a three-point shooter, be taking a lot more shots out there. So they pretty much kind of disrespect him by saying he would just be a specialist. A scoring specialist, which is fine, but I don't know, man. I don't know much about the history of John Havlicek, of who he was as a player, to really give a good analysis. So you guys, you Celtic fans, let me know in the comment section below. Do you feel like John Havlicek would do okay in this era of basketball? All right, next up we got Karl-Anthony Towns. Yeah, I mean, right now, man, We are at an all-time high with like the center position not being very physical, and Karl-Anthony Towns still gets like feasted on when it comes to scoring. Having go up against Shaq, Hakeem, Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki. This dude is, yeah, man, it's gonna be all you can eat buffet out there, playing in simple, man. So I agree with that one. Jerry Lucas, wasn't he like 6'7"? Yeah, he says he averaged 20 rebounds per game twice. Career average is 16 points. Okay, at 6'8", 230 pounds, would be a small forward in today's NBA. Once again, man, I don't know enough about his game to really give a good analysis, but if he's dropping, 20 rebound games and stuff like that at 6'8", even in the thing is, I don't know how quick he was. If he's like a quick player to play small forward doing that, yeah, he dominates. But if he's like a slow power forward / center doing that, and now he's, in this modern NBA, then it would not work out. So it all kind of comes down to how he was athletic wise. It says right there, built, stronger, faster, and bigger than they were in the 1960s. All right, we got present star Ben Simmons. Once again, man, this is one I totally disagree with, because back in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you didn't really need a three-point shot to dominate. Right now, the game is dominated by small ball and the three-point shot. So if anything, like Ben Simmons' big handicap is that he can't really shoot perimeter jump shots. So that would be limited by playing in a different era. Totally disagree, man. He'd be completely fine. It says the struggles for Simmons will be with him getting to the rim. I don't know, man. With his ball handling skills and stuff like that, I feel like that would be he would be a fine getting to the rim. Oscar Robinson, really, man? Mr. Triple Doubles. So you're gonna say Russell Westbrook gonna be able to drop freaking triple doubles on the daily, but you don't think Oscar Robinson can do it in this current era? And to say that he's the big difference today is that Oscar was 6'5" and similar to guards that are on every roster in the league. So he didn't dominate because of his size. He dominated because of his skills. Another player, man, that would be just completely fine in today's NBA. Next up, we have present star Damian Lillard. So against real rim protectors, Lillard would have to change his game, and without being a natural facilitator, Lillard would struggle. Another case, though, man, where he's got like the shot, his perimeter shooting's always been pretty solid out there. Damian Lillard can be a little strict with his field goal percentage at times. But I mean, he was quick and stuff like that. So I guess if you want to say it's him getting bumped around, sure, man, he maybe wouldn't go to the free throw line as much, but I still think he would be a big time scorer. We have Bob Petit. I know it's Petit, man, something like that. Okay. Yeah, this dude's from the 1960s. I don't know much about his games. He was the center for the Hawks. All about the fundamentals. I know there's this drill I actually do that I got from him. It's something with like being under the basket and like putting up like layups with your right and left hand. So he was definitely more like fundamentally sound. Would still probably be able to score the basketball in this era. I just don't know how he would be defensively going up against some of the big time centers. And finally, we have Kyle Lowry. So it says Kyle Lowry is a low tier all-star. Says he wouldn't be a high scorer in the old NBA, but he's always been a pretty good playmaker. So yeah, maybe he wouldn't be asked to do as much like offensively, but can you imagine him playing maybe alongside Michael Jordan, like with his playmaking abilities and stuff like that, and even his respectable jump shot? Yeah, maybe he wouldn't be an all-star, but he would still be a hell of a good point guard, probably starting on most teams. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all these right here. Do you feel like these players would fit in the current NBA? Do you feel like they would struggle, and vice versa? Anyway, if you guys want to read the article, it is in the description below. But thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.